Rolfricker here, and we have a new Pandemic game. This is Pandemic Rapid Response. Now, it is a target game. Unlike other Pandemic games we've seen and also other Target exclusives, it's not just sort of a reskin. This is a whole new game with new mechanics, but you're still out there trying to save the world from disasters. The basic premise is this is actually a game in real time when you are playing as the crew of this sort of retrofitted plane, trying to bring out resources that you can create on the plane to different cities that are having different kinds of emergencies. So it's not just disease, it's all different kinds of things. So you'll have to make sure you get like medicine, food, and other different kinds of supplies to the cities before the timer runs out.
Yeah, you know how in Pandemic you can take an action to fly from one city to another? This game kind of zooms all the way in, and the entire board is just your plane, and you can move between different areas of the plane to do different things. Basically, it's a dice rolling game, and on your turn, you're going to roll your set of dice, and you can re-roll them up to 3 times, or you can re-roll them up to twice. You'd roll a total of 3 times, and try to get the symbols that you're looking for. But all the while, there's a sand timer, and if the sand timer runs out, you lose a time token. And if all those time tokens run out, you just lose the game. So every time that you're able to make a drop-off of new supplies to a city, you're going to get another time token. So the better you're doing, hopefully the longer the game will last, the more time that you'll have to figure everything out. You can move around different rooms on the plane, or you can move the plane itself to different cities depending on where you need to go. Or depending on which room you're in, you can use those symbols to get enough supplies that the different cities require, because they'll all have different requirements. Some of those spaces might require multiple of the same die symbol, so you will need to roll more than one in order to add things to that room. So there's a bit of strategizing in when to re-roll and how to use your abilities. Each character is a different role, and they have different abilities as well, just like regular Pandemic. Some of them allow you to re-roll your dice more. Some of them give you more movement options, and depending on which ones you like, what your team is going for, they may have different strengths and weaknesses that you appreciate, some more than others perhaps. And that's basically the game. It's the same, the same kind of genre as Pandemic, but like you said, very, very different actual gameplay mechanics. This is the first time they've had a real-time mechanic in a Pandemic game. Not the first time they've had a big emphasis on dice rolling, but
right.
certainly the first time it's a real-time thing. So it feels like, at least for me, this is more exciting than just Pandemic Iberia or Pandemic Rising Tide or Cthulhu Pandemic, where it's kind of the same thing but tweaked a little. This really feels like a totally different game.
Yeah, it's definitely falls more into that
Pandemic,
when you get
the
that
Cure category.
Fear. Yeah, well, not only that, just the energy, almost fear you get when in a real time game. You're like, keep rolling, we got to move here, we got to move here. You know, you all start talking fast. Just trying to get everything right. And of course, those dice things, when you're always rolling, trying to get the
symbols
symbol
that you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do think that even though it has this, it still has that. I think the two main parts of Pandemic, the spirit of like one, just cooperation, save the world. Mm-hmm. And a relatively light cooperative game. I don't think is a very difficult game. This makes sense for something that you'd make a Target exclusive because it's the game, someone who's new to board games could pick up and I think have fun with.
It does say 8 years and up is the recommended age group for this game. So yeah, it seems like it could be played relatively easily by more of a family crowd. It is not being designed by Matt Leacock. Instead, this one comes from designer Kane Klenko, who previously designed Fuse and Flip Ships, among other games. And it is coming out June 23rd, like we said, targets only, at least in the US, for $39.99, which is pretty much in line with, I think, the other Pandemic price points. And we'll see if it turns out to be a big hit, or there have been a bunch of Pandemic games, and some of them have fallen to the wayside and don't turn out to be that popular. But I feel like the real-time aspect of this could make this one stand out a lot more.
I'm sure we'll know it did well when we get Pandemic Rapid Response Plymouth, where instead of on a plane, you're on a old ship.
Oh, nice. I didn't know where you're going with that, but then I figured it out. Yeah, that sounds fun. There's all kinds of spin-offs they could do. So let us know in the comments, are you excited for Rapid Response? Please rapidly respond to this video and let us know. Until we see you again, everybody, my name is Jonathan.
And I'm Will.
And this has been Roll for Crit.
Never miss out by liking and subscribing, and you can also check out more on our Patreon.
We do weekly podcasts on Patreon. Don't you want to sign up and hear more of our voices?